कपिंद ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Dear friends, in the last class we completed the 13th mantra, that is Yached Vang Manasi Prajnah Tad Yachet Jnana Atmani Jnanam Atmani Mahatini Yachet Tad Yachet Shanta Atmani. We completed the 13th mantra of third Valli. So that is it. There we saw this, what is called this Pravilapana Prakriya. I gave that name, Pravilapana. So prior to that we have seen how that degree of say subtleness we have seen. There is a comparative say analysis of that subtleness, that is indriyebhyah parahyarthaah arthebhyascha paramanah. This is subtle than this, this is subtle than this, this is subtle than this. So that degree of subtleness that was seen in that process. So then the next after that, this mantra, this 13th mantra, it says how you have to go back. It is like going back to your roots. Like going back to, you see, you somewhere you are away from your say country or whatever it is, and then you go back to your roots. Then you see who was your grandfather, who was his father, who was his father, and then you go to some remote village in some place. So like that. So you are going back to the roots. Then in this thing, what is happening is the karya is merged in the karanam. In this pravilapana is nothing but this realizing that this karyam or an effect is not different from the cause. The pot is not different from the clay. Similarly, the gold ornament is not different from the gold. And then these indriyas are not different from the indriyarthas. And indriyarthas are not different from this manas. And manas is again not different from this buddhi. So in that process, you reject this gross. You from gross to subtle, you travel. And where are you traveling? You are only traveling inwards. You are not going out anywhere. Anadhvaga adhvasu paraishnavaha. That line also we saw. Those who want to travel, those who want to reach this thing, they don't move an inch. They don't move an inch, but they reach their destination. That is what we saw in that say line. Anadhvagaha adhvasu paraishnavaha. So like that, this is a journey which is inside, where you are rejecting all these gross say aspect, and then you are trying to discover what is the more and more subtle aspect in you. So that thing we have seen in the last class. Yachet Vang Manasi Prajnah. These indriyas, all the sense organs, you have to realize that these are not different from the mind. They are only a manifestation of this mind. They are only a karya of the mind, let us say. And then this mind again is a karya of that buddhi. Then prajna tadyachet jnana atmani. Then jnana atmani, that buddhi is again a product of that collective, say the cosmic mind called Hiranyagarbha. Then nar mahat. Then that mahat again is yachet, the atmani mahatini yachet, tadyachet shanta atmani. That ultimately you have to resolve into the supreme reality, that supreme Brahman, because that is only an appearance in that supreme Brahman. So that is what we saw, say up to the 13th shloka, Sarva Buddhi Pratyaya Sakshini Mukhye Atmani. That we have seen. We have to read the avatarika for the next mantra. Let us read. Evam Purushe Atmani Sarvam Pravilapya Nama Rupa Karmatrayam Yan Mithyajnana Vijrumbhitam Kriya Karaka Phala Lakshanam Swatma Yathatmya Jnanena Marich Yudaka Rajju Sarpa Gagana Malaniva Marichi Rajju Gagana Swarupa Darshanenaiva
Marichi Rajju Gagana
स्वस्थः प्रशान्तात्मा
स्वस्थः प्रशान्तात्मा
कृतकृत्यो भवति यतः
कृतकृत्यो भवति यतः
अतः तद्दर्शनार्थम्.
अतः तद्दर्शनार्थम्.
Okay, then it goes on. Tishtata Jagrata, it continues with the next mantra. So this thing, he is again telling now, what is the result or what is the ultimate goal you have attained by this pravilapana? You have done this pravilapana, you have negated not this, not this, not this, you have negated and then gone to that thing. What is it that you have achieved? What is the purushartha you have achieved in the whole process of pravilapana? So ultimately he is saying that you are becoming a swastha. Swastha, prashantatma, krutakrutyah. So these are the words used in the last line. Swastha means, swasmin sthaha, this word we got earlier also. Swastha means swasmin sthaha, swarupe sthaha. One who is in his own self, there is no vishesha, nirvishesha. There is no vishesha means what are these visheshas? All these vak, manas and then these indriyas, sense organs going out and then perceiving so many things and then having so many cognitions, so many cognitions producing so much of experience. This experience giving say rise to so many vasanas, and these vasanas again having their own impact on the mind. They are causing some predispositions in your own mind. So all these things is that samsara. So all these things are absent. That is that nirvishesha sthiti. And you are in your own self, swasmin sthaha or swarupe sthaha, that is called swasthaha. You are in your own self, you are in your own original rupa. Not that tatastha lakshana, you are in your swarupa lakshana. That is swastha. Then another word used is prashantatma. Prashanta, Shanta also we know. Shanta means all vikshepas and all disturbances have just subsided. All these disturbances have subsided because the mind itself has become absent. The mind, not absent, the mind has been totally say subdued. Mano nasha, that word also we have seen that Vidyaranya uses that word in, of course this is a very commonly used word in Vedanta, not only Vidyaranya. It is used in all Vedanta texts. Mano nasha is that the mind, the activity of the mind has to be totally subdued. So that is what is called mano nasha. Mind, activities of the mind means mind going out and then say looking, appreciating things. So that activity it totally becomes zero. Mind again coupled with ego. Mind maybe is looking up, say even in the case of a Jivan Mukta, mind is there. Mind is not annihilated, but that ego is annihilated, that self, I see this, that I is annihilated, and then the mind may be say looking at things, but then mind is looking at all those things as Brahman only. That is Sarvabhuta Atma Bhutatma, which we saw in Gita. So he is in that state. Prashantatma, Swasthaha, all these they mean that mind may be there, mind will be there naturally. Even a Jivan Mukta, he doesn't go into a coma. A Jivan Mukta does not go into coma. A Jivan Mukta also, like King Janaka, he will be transacting in a normal life. He will be dealing with all types of all people. But then he is at a higher level. He is in a higher pedestal. He looks at things in a much different, in a totally different way from how an ordinary samsari looks at these things. Ordinary samsari establishes a relation with these things. That Jivan Mukta has no relation. Jivan Mukta just does these things as part of his prarabdha, karma. So that is what is the difference. So that is that Prashantatma, Krutakrutyah. Krutakrutya word also we have come across earlier in Gita Bhashyam. Krutakrutya means nothing else to be done. Krutam Krutyam Yasya Saha Sarvani Karmani Krutani. All these things they have been completed. Nothing else left. So that means there is not, when do you have something some work to be done? Only when your ego is there, only when you have that I feeling, oh I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. You prepare a planner and a daily planner, monthly planner and whatnot. So that is the stage where there are so many karyams. But here he is a Krutakrutya. So there is nothing further to be done by this person. So this is the result of say this pravilapana. This is the thing which you achieve as a result of this pravilapana. That is, your mind gets negated and then you are You may be discharging your duties. You may be discharging your duties in a totally dispassionate way, a totally, disinterested manner. Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante. So that is the definition that is the line which we have to apply here. Let us see this thing. Evam purushe atmani sarvam pravilapya. Purushe atmani. Purushe atmani is, Shankaracharya is repeatedly saying, whenever this word Brahma comes, he says Atma. Whenever that word Purusha comes, he also says Atma, because he is reminding what the Upanishad says. Upanishad says, Tasmadvaye Tasmadatmana Akasha Sambhutah. Prior to that, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So Brahma is equated to Atma. All Upanishads, they equate Brahma with Atma. So that is why Shankaracharya also makes sure that we don't forget. We should not forget that, we should not think that Brahma is something different and then we are something different. The Upanishad doesn't say like that. So Shankaracharya repeatedly tells us that whatever is called Purusha is Atma, whatever is called Brahma is Atma. So that is why he says, Evam Purusha Atmani. Purusha Atmani means Purushe Atmani. That is Purusha which is nothing different from that Atma. Purusha who is the same as Atma, and it is the same as that Vishnupadam, that Vishnu's place or Vishnu's position. So all that thing. Sarvam Pravilapya. You have dissolved all that. Sarvam Pravilapya means having dissolved all these things. What is it that you have dissolved? Nama Rupa Karma Trayam. This Nama Rupa Karma. Nama Rupa Karma only, when do they arise? They only arise in Maya. In Maya, when there is a sense of this I feeling and this sense of self, only when there is a Bheda Drushti means that feeling of difference, feeling of the duality. Only when in that state of duality, you have got that feeling of, okay, this is X, this is Y, this is Z. So all this feeling of duality is there only in that. Here, like that Upanishad says, Vacharam Bhanam Vikaro Namadheyam Mruttiketyeva Satyam. All these things, they are nothing, it is only Vacharam Bhanam. This name and form are only just for name's sake. Name is for name's sake. Vacharam Bhanam Namadheyam means name's sake. So name is only name's sake. Mrittika ityeva satyam. This clay, whatever is there, that itself is the satyam. So here also, this Chaitanyam which is there, Sat and Chit, that alone is the satyam. And then these all other things are names and forms. So when there are names and forms, there is also karma. Because when there is a name and form, this fellow feels inadequate. This fellow feels rather, delimited. Parichinna. We know that word parichinna. Parichinna means that delimited. Oh, I am this body. I am this body-mind complex. I have this particular identity. I have to do this. This is my duty. I have to achieve this. So this type of parichinna feeling will be there. Delimited feeling. So that man, he wants to fulfill, he wants to achieve. So in order to achieve, he wants to do something. So he will set some targets for him and then he will go in that direction. So this Nama Rupa Karma Trayam, so that is why he says, Yat Mithya Jnana Vijrumbhitam. Yat means which? Mithya Jnana Vijrumbhitam. This is all unleashed. Vijrumbhitam, that is just unleashed by this Mithya Jnana. Mithya Jnana, it can means the false knowledge. Mithya can be taken as an adjective. Then, of course, the one commentator Gopala Yatindra, he says, Mithya cha tad ajnanam cha. He divides it as Mithya plus ajnanam as Mithya jnanam. So, Gopala Yatindra, he makes this division. Normally, Mithya jnanam, we take it as Mithya jnanam. Mithya is that false knowledge, says superimposing something on the other, thinking A to be B. So that is Mithya Jnanam. So that is a deluded state. Mithya Jnanam. But here Gopala Yatindra says Mithya cha tat ajnanam cha. This is Karmadhariya, he says Mithya and also Ajnanam. So that sort of thing. The Mithya Jnana Vijrumbhitam means that which has been, let loose, that which has been unleashed, all this karma, nama, rupa, karma, all these things, it is just, let loose by this Mithya Jnana, or it is just created by this Mithya Jnana. So all these things we have Pravilapya, having dissolved all that. Then what are the characteristics of this Mithya Jnanam? Kriya, Karaka, Phala, Lakshanam. There is a Kriya. When there is a karma, that is naturally you are doing a kriya. Then there is a karaka. Karaka comes into picture when there are two people. We know that there are 6 karakas: this kartru karaka, karma karaka, karana karaka, apadana karaka. All these things, they are there. All these cases, as we say, nominative case, objective case, then instrumental case, then what is the next case? Okay, that cases I am forgetting. Locative case, genitive case, and all these cases. All these cases come into picture when this kriya is associated with the two people. I am giving something to you. That becomes that, chaturthi, vibhakti, Ramaya phalam yachati. So that becomes a karaka. Then Ravanam, Ramaha Jaghana. Then that becomes, accusative case. So like that, there are two people involved. There is a human transaction which is involved. There is a bheda, there is a duality which is involved in all this kriya, karaka. And there is a phalam. So this man, he gets some phalam. Because of this ego thinks that it is getting some phalam out of it. So this kriya, karaka, phala, lakshanam. What is this phalam? This phalam can be sukha, this phalam can be dukkha also. So all these things, either it results in some sukha, something to do with pleasure or something to do with pain. So this sort of phala lakshanam, all these things, it has been pravilapya. Up to this point, this pravilapya has to be connected. Then swatma yathatmya jnanena, that is by realizing the nature of his own self, the truth about his own self. Swatma yathatmya. Yathatmya means that truth. The truth about his own self, having realized that, with the knowledge of his own self, then what is he doing? Marichyudaka, then Rajju Sarpa, Gagana Malaniva, Marichi Rajju Gagana Swarupa Darshanena. So this Marichi Udaka Gnana, when does it go? When you Marichyudaka means that water in a mirage. In some deserted place, from a long distance you see that there is a lake, but then when you go near you don't find any lake. So it is just a water in a mirage. That is called Marichyudaka. Then Rajju Sarpa, the snake which appears on a rope. Then Gagana Malaniva. Gagana Malam is that blueness which appears in the sky. Actually there is no blueness in the sky, but then from here it looks like that. So when you know that there is no water there, and then when you know that there is no snake there, and when you know that there is no blueness there, then all that the false jnana disappears. So similarly, you have realized the knowledge of your own self, that you are nothing other than that Sat and Chit. So having rejected or having done this pravilapanam, pravilapya, sarvam pravilapya, that is having dissolved everything, having resolved everything or dissolved whatever you can say, into the karana, having resolved all this karya into the karanas, then you are in your own self. So that is it. Like you have rejected all this Marichyudaka, like you have rejected this rope snake, and then you have rejected all this blueness in the sky. So like that, you become what? Swasthaha, Prashantatma, Krutakrutyaha. These 3 words I just explained to you. Bhavati, Yataha, Ataha Tad Darshanartham. Because he becomes like that, Yataha Bhavati, Yataha means because he will become like that, Ataha, therefore, Tad Darshanartham, in order to realize it, what are you supposed to do? So the next mantra says what you are supposed to do in order to realize it. Let us read the mantra. Uttishtata Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata Kshurasya Dhara Nishita Duratyaya Durgam Pathastat Kavayo Vadanti. So he says, the Shruti says, Uttishtata, Jagrata. The Shruti is directly telling us all these things here, all these are instructions. These are all instructions. You do this, do this, do this. Shruti is supposed to be talking with a tone of authority. There is what is called Prabhu Samhita, Mitra Samhita and Kanta Samhita. Prabhu Samhita, have you heard these words? Prabhu Samhita means somebody who is instructing you like a lord. Prabhu means lord. Mitra Samhita just as a friend, a friendly advice. Kanta Samhita, that is like your wife advises you in your house. That is what is called Kanta Samhita. So there are three levels in which this advice is given. So this Shruti is said to be giving an advice in the form of a parent. From the point of view of a parent or a teacher, you do this, you do this. That is called Prabhu Samhita. Mitra Samhita, in our tradition, all these Puranas, etc., they are supposed to be Puranas, Smriti, all these things, they are said to be Smritis. They are said to be Mitra Samhita because they give various examples of so many of people, how they have fared well and then or they have suffered. So that is called Mitra Samhita. Kanta Samhita comes in the case of all these kavyas. For example, Kalidasas, Raghuvamsha, Meghaduta, all these Kumara Sambhava, all these kavyas will be there. Kavya means pieces of literature, literary pieces. So in literature, the poet, he also advises, he also has a message, but he gives that message in a beautiful way, in a gentle way, like a woman advises the man, or rather the man advises the woman, whatever it is. So like a lover advises say the lady love or the lover, whatever it is. So like that, this is called Prabhu Samhita. So here the Shruti is saying you get up, rise. Uttishtata, this is actually Madhyama Purusha Bahuvachanam. Uttishtata, you rise, all of you. It is telling everybody, it is Madhyama Purusha, that is second person, Bahuvachana, that is plural. All of you, you get up, rise. Uttishtata, Jagrata, wake up. Actually, it should be Jagruta, that should be there, but then this appears to be some Chandasam. Jagrata, Prapya Varan Nibodhata. Varan Prapya Nibodhata. Varan Shrestha Purushan. Varan means, we have seen this word Vara earlier also. Vrunite. Vrunite means he chooses. So Vara means a chosen person, a Shrestha, learned man. Varan Prapya. You go to a good teacher. Having gone to a good teacher, Shrestha Purushan. Varan. This word, we have come across this earlier also. Varenyam, this, that Varaniyam, that most chosen thing. Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, that there also you get this thing. So Varan Prapya Nibodhata. Nibodhata means learn from them. You get up, say wake up from sleep, get up, wake up from sleep and then go to good teachers and then learn from them. Then Churasya Dhara Nishita Duratyaya. This is like, this path is like a Churasya Dhara. Chura means, of course, some people have translated it as razor's edge, but razor is such a small thing. It is not razor's edge. I checked up this Amarakosha. Amarakosha is a Sanskrit dictionary. That Chura actually means a sword. Chura means a sword. It is like the sharp edge of a sword. Probably in olden days, probably there were some tests for people to walk on this edge of a sword. Probably some type of commando training might have been there. It looks like that. Otherwise, this will not be mentioned. Churasya Dhara Nishita. That is like walking on the edge of a sword. It is like walking on the edge of a sword. It is so delicate. You have to go so cautiously. You have to move so cautiously that you should not hurt your feet, the sole of your feet. It is like the sword's edge. Nishita means sharp. Then Duratyaya. Duratyaya means Atyeti, Ati plus Eti, Atyeti. Duratyaya means very difficult to cross over, very difficult to go, very difficult to tread on. Very difficult to tread on because it is something like a sword's edge. You have to tread on it very, very carefully. Then Durgam Pathaha Tat Kavayo Vadanti. Tat Pathaha, that particular path. Patha is path. Samskrita Patha is the same as English path. Durgam Pathaha, that is very difficult path. Durgam is very difficult to be traveled, very difficult to be overcome. Durgam Pathaha Tat Kavayaha Vadanti. Kavayaha means not poets. Kavi, normally we use the word to mean poet, but Kavi means actually a learned person, a jnani. Durgam Pathaha Tat Kavayo Vadanti. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram, that also we will get. Kavi means actually it refers to Brahman also, depending on the context. Depending on the context, it refers to Brahman because it symbolizes jnanam. So these jnanis, they say that this path is very, very difficult. So this is the mantra. This mantra is quite simple because is it clear or not? Okay. Then, okay, let us read the Bhashyam. अनाद्यविद्या प्रसुप्ताः
अनाद्यविद्या प्रसुप्ताः
उत्तिष्ठत हे जन्तवः
उत्तिष्ठत हे जन्तवः
आत्मज्ञानाभिमुखा भवता
आत्मज्ञानाभिमुखा भवता
bhavata. Okay, it is saying, oh you people, anadyavidya prasuptaha. Anadyavidya, anadi avidya. This avidya is something which is anadi. Anadi means originless. That is, it is there right from the beginning. Ever since Brahman is there, it is there right from that time. Anadi is there. But then Brahma is anadi and anantam. Anantam is there is no end. Consciousness is something which has no origin and then there is no end. It is always there. Whereas this ajnana is something it has an end. It is anadi but santam. Santam means which has an end. Anadi but santam. So that is the thing. So this is originless but santam. So it is something similar to what we have seen earlier. What is that? In Gita we have seen ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam. This ajnanam is something like nisha. Nisha is night. Ajnanam is the nisha. And then in that nisha, this all the people they are there in that ajnana. Only samyami jagarti. Samyami, this jnani. Jnani is the only man who is awake in that state. So something similar to that we see here. So anadya vidya prasuptaha. Hey, oh people who are all sleeping in that ajnana. You get up. Uttishtata. Hey jantavaha. Jantavaha means oh all beings. Not of course. It is not a message to all donkeys and dogs and lions and all that. Hey jantavaha. It means here, oh people, you are not different from a jantu. That is what it says. Man is not different from a jantu because jani pradurbhave. Whatever is coming into being is a jantu. Whatever is being born is a jantu. So from that point of view, we are all jantus only, animals. So hey jantavaha, atmajnanabhimukha bhavata. Bhavata is again that madhyama purusha bahuvachanam. You become atmajnanabhimukha. That is, you direct yourself towards atmajnana. Abhimukha means to face it. Abhimukha, you move towards that atmajnana. You go take that path of atmajnana. Then abhimukha and paramukha, these are the common words which we see. Paramukha means turn away. Abhimukha means turn towards that. You turn towards this atmajnana. That is a proper word. Turn towards this atmajnana. Don't turn away from atmajnana. So that is it. Then jagrata. Ajnana, not jagrata. Jagrata. Ajnana nidrayaha. Sarva ghora rupayaha. Sarva anartha bijabhutayaha. Kshayam kuruta. Okay. Jnana nidrayaha, ghora rupayaha, samsara anartha bijabhutayaha, kshayam kuruta. You destroy that. Kshayam kuruta means you destroy it. What? Destroy. Jagrata, you wake up. Then you destroy. What is it you have to destroy? Ajnana nidrayaha. This nidra, this sleep, this sort of stupor, let us say this sort of stupor called ignorance, you destroy. How? By going to a teacher, by doing some shravana, manana, nididhyasana, by doing some abhyasa. Straight away you may not say by mere shravanam and mananam one may not get. You have to do a lot of other things also, like this yoga. That is why this dhyana yoga was prescribed. Why should dhyana yoga be told if you can straight away get jnanam by mere shravana, manana, nididhyasana? Because the mind is not yet cooled down. The mind is not yet under control. The mind is engaged in thousands of activities. And then among those thousands of activities, you are doing some shravanam. Then how about, say, ironing out all those, say, angularities? It is something like iron. We use the word angularity. You have to iron out all those angularities through the process of this yoga. This dhyana yoga is the process of ironing out all those idiosyncrasies and angularities. So that is how you are supposed to say achieve control on this mind. Only then there were two words which we saw in Gita also. What is Nishchalatvam and Nirmalatvam? The mind is expected to be Nischala, that is still, at the same time pure. Only then that Pratibimba, that say Brahma Pratibimba will appear in a proper way. So otherwise in a turbid water and also shaking water, the image will not be there. So it is like that. So this mind has to be controlled by process of dhyana. So not only Shravana Manana Nididhyasana but also this dhyanam. Dhyanam, that is exercises which Patanjali's exercises which we saw in that dhyana yoga. So controlling the mind, that is very essential. So all these things we have to do in order to destroy this Ajnana Nidra. Ajnana Nidrayaha Chayam Kuruta. What is this Ajnana Nidra? Ghora Rupa. It is so fierce looking. This Ajnana Nidra is something which is dreadful, which is so fierce looking. Ghora. We know this word Ghora. Ghora Rupa. Fierce looking. Then Sarva Anartha Bija Bhutayaha. And this is the seed for all Anartha. This is the seed for all say negative results which we see. This is the seed for all our misery. Anartha is misery basically. This is the seed for all the misery. So this say stupor, you destroy it by having that Atma Sakshatkara, by realizing yourself. Once you realize yourself, you are awake from this Ajnana Nidra, and then you destroy all this ignorance, and then you are in your own, so you are a Swastha and Prashantatma. So that is it. Then how Katham Prapya Upagamya Varan Prakrustan Acharyan Tadvidaha Tad Upadishtam Sarvantaram Atmanam Aham Asmiti Nibodhata Avagacchata Nahi Upekshitavyam iti Shrutihi Anukampaya aha Matruvat. Okay, so here how to destroy that ignorance. Katham means how. Prapya Upagamya Prapya Varan Nibodhata Upagamya, that Guru Upasadanam. Now the process of Guru Upasadanam, Guru Upagamya, Samitpanihi, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, that we have seen in some other Upanishad. We have not seen, of course, some other Upanishad says. He has to go approach a teacher in all humility, and then he has to listen from him. So that is what it says. Prapya Upagamya Varan. Who are these Varan? Prakrustan Acharyan. You have to go to a good Acharya. Acharya, again we have seen that definition also. Acharya is Achinoti cha Shastrarthan Acharya Sthapayatyapi. Swayam Acharate Yasmat Acharya Sa Acharya iti smrtaha. Some last line is not very clear. Sa Acharya iti smrtaha. So Achinoti cha Shastrarthan. He knows, he reads the scriptures, he understands the meaning. Acharya Sthapayatyapi. He also implements them. It is not as though he is only a bookish philosopher and then he is not at all disciplined in his personal life. So in his personal life he is such a dissolute character, and then he reads something and then he mouths them in the classroom. So he should not be like that. So then Acharya Sthapayatyapi. He tells others, that is Acharya Sthapayati means he tells others. Swayam Acharate Yasmat. He also follows it. He also has some discipline in his regular life. So only such a person can be called an Acharya. A person who is a totally dissolute character cannot be an Acharya. He may be a knowledgeable man, but he cannot be a good Acharya. You may only learn some bad things from him. So that is what is that thing, Acharya means. Then Prakrustan Acharyan. Though Prakrushta means Shrestha, excellent, good Acharyan. Tadvidaha. Tadvidaha means, Tadvida again is in accusative case, the same accusative case. Tadvidaha means those who know it. Tat. Tat. They know that Tat. So they are called Tadvidaha. So tat, they know that Tat means that Brahman. So Tadvidaha, the Acharyas who know that the nature of that Tat. So those, they are the people Tadvidaha. Then Tad Upadishtam. Upadishtam means that which is taught by them. Then what is that? Sarvantaram Atmanam. So they will teach you that this Atma is something which is Sarvantara. Sarvantara means that which is all pervading, that is indwelling in everything. So that Atmanam Aham Asmiti Nibodhata Avagacchata. So you have to realize, you have to have that Sakshatkara, not only not mere understanding at the intellectual level, but you have to experience that you are that Atma. Aham asmiti nibodhata avagachata. You have to realize that you are that Atman. Then nahi upekshitavyam. You are not supposed to neglect it. Nahi upekshita. Upeksham is neglect. Nahi upekshitavyam is it should not be neglected. Iti shruti anukampaya aha. Anukampa means sympathy, compassion. Shruti, this mother, Shruti like mother, matruvat like mother. She is the Shruti Mata. Shruti is usually compared to Shruti Mata because Shruti also is a feminine word. Shruti is a feminine word. This Shruti anukampaya. Anukampa means compassion, sympathy. Out of sheer compassion for the seekers, for the sadhakas, the Shruti is saying that. As I said, that is that Prabhu Samhita. Then, let us read. Ati sukshma buddhi vishayatvat
Ati sukshma buddhi vishayatvat
jneyasya.
jneyasya.
So this jneya means that which has to be known. That which has to be known is ati sukshma buddhi vishayaha. Ati sukshma buddhi vishayaha means that is the subject matter for a very, very incisive, sharp mind. Very, very incisive, analytical, sharp mind. Only it will be known. So you should have an incisive, sharp, analytical and pure mind. Of course, I have to add that pure also. Without that purity, it will not be realized. So that pure mind, ati sukshma buddhi vishayatvad jneyasya. So this sukshma buddhi, we can give all these adjectives. It should be analytical, it should be pure, it should be sharp. So that sort of mind, for that mind, it becomes a vishaya. Vishaya means subject matter. Vishayatvat means because it becomes the subject for such a buddhi. Vishayatvat. Because this Atma Jnana becomes the Vishaya or a subject matter for such a sharp intellect. Sharp and pure intellect. Then Kimiva Sukshma Buddhihi
Kimeva sukshma buddhihi
Ityuchyate
ityuchyate
Shurasya Dhara Agram
shurasya dhara agram
Nishita Tikshni Kruta
nishita tikshnikrita
Duratyaya Dukkhena Atyayo Yasya Sa Duratyaya
duratyaya dukkhena atyayah yasyah saha
Duratyaya.
duratyaya.
Okay. Kimiva Sushma Buddhihi. What type of this Sushma Buddhi? That Sushma Buddhi should be something like Shurasya Dhara Nishita Tishni Kurta. That Sukshma Buddhi should be like Shurasya Dhara, like the sharp edge. Like that Dhara Agram Nishita Tishni Kurta. That which has been sharpened. Nishita means Tikshni Kurta means that which has been sharpened. That which has been made Tikshanam. Tikshanam means sharp. Tishni Kruta means that which has been sharpened. Duratyaya. So like that, Duratyaya, it is very, very difficult to go. It is very, very difficult to go. Duratyaya. Eti dhatu means eti means gacchati. Duratyaya means very difficult to tread on that. Very difficult to tread on that. Dukkhena atyayaha yasyaha. It is very difficult to cross over that. Very difficult to tread on that. Atyayaha yasyaha sa duratyaya. So why? How is it Duratyaya? In fact, recently I was reading one book. This Vedanta classic called this Yoga Vasishtam. Yoga Vasishtam all these days is a very, very huge book. If you look at that book, it is a very frightening book. So some 2,000 or so many, 32 or 36,000 slokas, I don't remember exactly. And it is in huge, it's a very voluminous book. So that voluminous book luckily has been, a very concise form has been brought out by one gentleman here locally, and then it has also been translated by one gentleman called Vemuri Ramesham. It is published by this Dattapitham. Mysore, this Dattapitham is there, that Ganapati Sachidananda Ashram. So that Ganapati Sachidananda Swami has published it. Luckily, there are some small booklets which have come, which give a very, very concise, in a very concise manner, all that which is contained in that Yoga Vasishtam is given. So luckily, I was recently going through that. There you find the stories of people who are all sadhakas. It is something which is parallel to Bhagavatam. Mahabhagavatam, it gives the story of bhaktas. All these great devotees. So this Bhagavatam is basically about great devotees. Yoga Vasishtam is something similar to that, where there are so many stories of sadhakas. Sadhaka means seekers. So Mano Nasha, how to conquer your mind. he tells some stories about how a particular man, he did some tapas and then what sort of obstacles came in the way and how he conquered. Then Maya, in order to explain Maya, he gives some story of some Gadhi, some king called Gadhi, and then how this man feels, so many things in that state of Maya, how he experiences so many strange things in that state. So like that. So for this Manonasha and also this Kimiva Sushma, why this path is so difficult, there is a story of husband and wife. This husband is a king called Shikhidhwaja. Shikhidhwaja is the king and his wife is called Chudala. That episode is called Chudala Upakhyanam, the episode of Chudala. So there, this wife and husband both are Brahmanishtas. Not Brahma, they try to become Brahmanishtas. Of course, the wife becomes Brahmanishta first. So she becomes a realized person. And then how this lady trains the husband to become a Brahmanishta. That is something which is, we have to read that story. I strongly recommend to you to read that, to get hold of those small books and then read. So there, so many difficulties which arise in the path of a seeker. So there initially the Lord Devendra with her yoga siddhi, she has to test her husband whether he has become mature or not, whether his mind has become pure or not. So she tests her in a very strange ways, tests her husband in a very strange ways. For example, she creates with her yoga siddhi, she creates a scene as though from the heaven, one chariot comes, along with all these divine damsels and all that, they all come and then they invite this man. Oh, gentlemen, now you have achieved perfection. You have achieved a particular standard. You come to Devaloka. We'll take you to Devaloka. Then that is a temptation. So that temptation of going to Swarga has to be thoroughly rejected by this man. So this man thoroughly rejects. No, I don't want Swarga. I am very happy. So she feels happy. Oh yeah, he has attained that level. Then again, she also wants to see whether this man has conquered Asuya and Raga Dvesha. Asuya is jealousy. So for that, with her yoga power, she creates a scene where she is seen sleeping with some other young man. So she appears to be sleeping with a young man, and then that man comes and sees. Even then, that man doesn't get perturbed. He just doesn't get perturbed, and then he just walks away from that, and then he also apologizes to her later. So then you see the way in which that sexual jealousy has been tested by the wife for a husband. So like this, you find so many episodes in that Yoga Vasishtha, and in this story itself, the wife tests her husband in all these manners, and then she realizes that this man has become a jnani. So like that, there is such a difficult process. So it is like a churasya dhara. It is like walking on that, that's a sharp edge of a sword. Walking on the sharp edge of a sword, the sadhana marga is like that, because there are so many temptations in between. Some siddhi is there, and you become very powerful, and then you try to give vibhuti to all people, or you try to materialize things and give to people. So this is of course, siddhi is something which I have not personally seen. Some people have been doing, but of course they are also challenged by some other rationalists. So we do not know the truth, whether these people are really siddhas or whether there is something wrong, as rationalists say. Of course, let us not go into that. But then this path, coming to know about this path, we have to read some of those stories from that Yoga Vasishtha. So that will tell us the way in which our people did tapas in olden days. That Yoga Vasishtha was a classic which inspired people throughout centuries. So how our people did tapas, and then how simple our people were, the whole culture is reflected in that. So that you can see that. So this is basically to explain about this word called churasya dhara, duratyaya. Then let us read, yatha sa padbhyam durgamaniya tatha durgam dussampadhyam ityetat. Okay, yatha sa means that sword's edge, shurasya dhara. Sa refers to that shurasya dhara. Yatha, just as that sword's edge is sharp and Padbhyam Durgamaniya, very difficult to tread on that by foot. Padbhyam Durgamaniya, it is very difficult to go by foot, like that. Tatha, likewise, Durgam Dussampadhyam ityetat. Durgam means Dussampadhyam. It is very, very difficult to attain that jnana. Very, very difficult to attain that level of, say, what is that, Jivan Mukta. So that is it. Then, Tatha, Tatha it is okay, over. Ityetat. Pathaha Panthanam.
Pataha panthanam.
Tattvajnana Lakshanam Margam.
Tattvajnana-lakshanam margam.
Kavayaha Medhavinaha Vadanti.
Kavayaha medhavino vadanti.
Okay, Durgam Dussampadhyam ityetat, that I told. Pathaha Panthanam. Patha, this word Patha is also in path. That is in accusative case. Dvitiya Vibhakti. Panthanam. They Kavayaha Vadanti. This Medhavinaha, these wise people, Vadanti, they say. Why? What do they say? This Pantha, which is of the nature of Tattvajnana. And this path of self-knowledge, this path of this, say, Tattvajnana is self-knowledge only. Tattvam is not exactly self-knowledge. Self-knowledge means Atmajnana. Tattvajnana means Tattva, thatness. Tat is that. Tattvam is the truth about that. Tattvam. Tattvajnana means truth about that, knowledge about that. What is that? That is Brahman. So this Brahmajnana, Tattvajnana means Brahmajnana. Same as Atmajnana, but the word literally means Brahmajnana. So then, Tattvajnana Lakshanam Margam Kavayah Medhavina Vadanti. Then, Jneyasya Ati Sukshmatvat
Ati sukshmatvat.
Tad Vishayasya
Tadvishayasya.
Jnanamargasya
Jnanamargasya.
Dussampadhyatvam Vadanti Ityabhiprayaha.
Dussampadyatyam vadanti ityabhiprayah.
Same words earlier also he told. Jneyasya Ati Sukshmatvat. This Jneya Vishaya, the object which has to be, the thing which has to be known or realized, is something which is Sukshma, that is very, very subtle. And then this Jnanamargasya Dussampadhyatvam, this Jnanapath is very, very difficult to attain. Iti Vadanti, all these knowledgeable people say. So that is the Abhiprayaha, so that is the opinion. Tat Katham
Tat katham.
Ati Sukshmatvam Jneyasya
Ati sukshmatvam jneyasya.
Ityuchyate
Ityuchyate.
Sthula Tavadiyam Medini
Sthula tavadiyam medini.
Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandhopachita
Shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandhopachita.
Sarvendriya Vishaya Bhuta
Sarvendriya vishaya bhuta.
Tatha Shariram.
Tatha shariram.
So how is it Sukshmatvam Jneyasya? That is, Tat Kathamiti Sukshmatvam Jneyasya Ityuchyate. That Jneya, it is so Sukshma, it is so subtle. Sukshma means that subtle. From gross to subtle and gross to subtle, that journey we have done. So in that journey, again he is just slightly repeating. Tat Katham. How is it that Ati Sukshmatvam Jneyasya Ityuchyate? It is being told. Then Sthula Tavadiyam Medini. Medini means Prithvi. Earth, Prithvi. Prithvi is Sthula. Medini is again feminine word. Prithvi is also feminine word. Prithvi, basically Bhudevi we call it. Bhumi is a feminine word. Out of these 5 elements, Prithvi, Apas, Tejo, Vayu, Rakashaha, Prithvi is feminine. The other things are all male, masculine gender. So this Sthula Tavadiyam Medini, this Medini is Sthula. Sthula means grass. Grass means that is that is the ultimate grossest thing which we see, because that is the object for all the senses. All the senses they cognize it. So that is the grossest. That is what he is saying. This is having these characteristics, 5 qualities: Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandhopachita. This is all grown or developed by this Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. This Prithvi is something which can be cognized by all the 5 senses. You can see it has got these 5 qualities, that is Shabda, sound, touch, color, taste and smell. So these 5 things are there. If you go in the reverse order, of course, smell, taste, color, touch and sound, all the things, all the 5 qualities are there in this Prithvi, and it can be cognized by all the 5 senses, isn't it? You can see it, you can touch it, you can smell it, likewise you can hear the sound from it, So all these things, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, everything you can see that. You can see that shape. So all those things are there. Shabda, Sparsha, Vishaya, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Upachita. Upachita means it is grown. Upachaya means accumulating. We know that word Upachaya. Deha Upachaye. Deha is something which grows by accumulating, by gathering. By collecting or gathering. So by all these 5 things, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, this is Upachita. So this is something which is connected with all these things. That is why Sarvendriya Vishaya Bhuta. Sarvendriya Vishaya Bhuta. That is the thing which can be cognized by all the 5 Indriyas. Sarva Indriya Vishaya. Indriya Vishaya means that which can be cognized by an Indriya. He is a Vishaya for that Indriya with respect to that Indriya. Fire is there. Of course, fire can be seen. It can be felt. Then this sound also, you can hear that sound of that fire. So like that is cognized by 3 senses. So but Sarvendriya Vishaya Bhuta. This Prithvi on the other hand is Sarvendriya Vishaya Bhuta. So he is going to say, you still have some time?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, fine. So Medini, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandhopachita, Sarvendriya Vishaya Bhuta. That is, it is cognized by all the senses. Tatha Shariram. Shariram also is like that. Shariram is nothing but that Prithvi only. Then, is this line clear? Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Gandhopachita, Sarvendriya Vishaya Bhuta. Arth is something which is having all these 5 qualities. That is Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. That is, if you take it, smell, taste, color, touch and sound, all the 5. And it is known by all the 5 senses. Then you come to water. Water, that is cognized by 4 senses. Water is cognized by, except this Ghrana. Prithvi has that Gandhavati Prithvi, Ghrana. That Ghrana goes away. In the case of water, that Ghrana goes away. You may say, okay, I can smell some odor in some say cool drink or something like that. That is the aspect, that is because of the Prithvi aspect which is mixed in that. Without that Prithvi aspect, you will not get smell. That smell will not be there in pure water. So that is why water is not said to be having the smell. Then when it comes to fire, both smell and taste will not be there. Only this Rupa, then touch, Sparsha and also this Shabda. Only those will be there. When you come to air, the 4 things will not be there. That is smell, taste, color and touch will not, these 3 things will not be there. That is smell, taste and color will not be there. Touch and sound will be there when you come to air. Then when you come to space, only sound will be there. Shabda Gunakam Akasham. Akasha is something which is that characterized by the sound. Is a thing called Shabda. So when you come to space, it is known only by one sense organ. So that is why Prithvi, which is known by all the 5 sense organ, is supposed to be the grossest. Then more subtle than that is water. Why? There is another reason also. Water is also supposed to be the cause for Prithvi, isn't it? Adbhyaha Prithvi. Right from that order, Akasha, Vayu, Ragni, Agni, Rapa, Adbhya, Prithvi. This Prithvi is the product of Adbhya. Then this water again is the product of fire. So this fire is more subtle than that. Fire again is the product of air. So the air is more subtle than that. And air is again the product of space. So space is more subtle than that. So in that order, if you delete one after the other, then you go from gross to subtle. So the grossest thing is earth. Grossest thing is that Prithvi or Medini. That is what he is going to say. Tatha Shariram. Up to this point, is it clear?
Yes.
Then Tatra Ekaiga Gunapakarshena Gandhadinam Sukshmatva Mahatva Vishuddhatva Nityatvadi Taratamyam Drushtam Abadishu Yavad Akasham Iti te Gandhadayaha Sarve eva Sthulatvad Vikaraha Shabdantaha Yatra nasanti Kimutasya Sushmatvadi Niratishayatvam Vaktavyam Ityetad Darshayati Shrutihi. It's a fairly long sentence. The overall meaning is like this. You see, you have seen that Prithvi cognized by 5 senses, water cognized by 4 senses, then fire cognized by 3 senses, air cognized by 2 senses, that is sparsha also is there, and sound is there. Then space cognized by only 1 sense. So that is what we have seen. So in that manner it is going on. So that is what he is saying. Tatra ekaika guna apakarshena. Apakarsha means deleting, removing. Apakarshana means deleting. Ekaika guna apakarshena. By deleting one after the other. Ekaika guna. You remove one, you remove one, you remove one. So by deleting one, apakarshena, gandhadinam, of this gandha, shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, in all these 5 things, sukshmatva, mahatva, vishuddhatva, nityatvadi, taratamyam drushtam. So this taratamyam means gradation. Taratama, that is which is superlative, and which is comparative, which is superlative, that analysis is called taratamyam. That gradation of subtleness is seen. Gradation in what? Gradation in sukshmatva. Sukshmatva means subtleness. Then mahatva. Mahatva, what is mahatva? That mahat, we have seen that word. Mahat is pervasiveness. Water is more pervasive than, what is this? Prithvi. Then above water is what? That is fire. Fire again is more pervasive than this, say, water. Then air again is more pervasive than this fire. Then similarly space is all pervasive. So like that. Not all pervasive like Brahman, more pervasive than all these things. So in that manner, that Sushmatva, Mahatva, Vishuddhatva. Vishuddha means, when do you become pure? When you don't have all these things, when you are not having any of these characteristics, you become pure. So the Prithvi is having all 5 characteristics. Then water is having 4. So it means it is purer than, say, Prithvi. Then fire is having only 3 characteristics. So it is purer than water. Then air, it is having only 2 characteristics. It is purer than the other 3. Then similarly space is having only 1 characteristic. So it is purer than the other 4. So like that, when you are rid of all these things, then you become purer and purer, isn't it? These are all things which have been superimposed on the Brahman. These are all things which have been adhyasa, isn't it? Adhyaropa. On Brahman, you have put that the adhyaropa. So all these things, once you remove all these things, what remains is purer and purer. So in that manner, that is that gradation. Sukshmatva, that is subtleness. Then Mahatva, pervasiveness. And Shuddhatva, purity. That purity we just talked about. Then Nityatva. Nityatva means Nityam means eternal. Nityam is an adjective. Nityatva becomes a noun. Eternality, let us say. Eternality. So there is a gradation of this, gradation in the subtleness, pervasiveness, and also purity and eternality of all these Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So that is what we see. If we delete one after the other, if we delete all these gunas, one after the other, if you delete, then you will see all these things. Then he says, when you are proceeding like this, what to talk of that Brahman which is Nirvishesham, where there are no gunas at all? Kimu Bhaktavyam means what to say, what to talk of. So in this Taratamyam Drushtam Abadishu. Abadishu means in water, etc. Why only it started with water? He completed about Prithvi in the first line. Prithvi ta Medini, Sthula tavadiyam Medini. He said Prithvi is something which is Sthula. So that is why he says Abadishu. So up means water. Water is purer and more subtle than the earth. So in that manner. So Abadishu Yavad Akasham. Yavad Akasham means till we come to the level of Akasha. Right, from starting from water to Akasha, we have seen that gradation of Sukshmatva, then Mahatva, Vishuddhatva, Nityatva. All these things are Nityatva. So these things we have seen. Then, is it clear?
Yes.
Akashamiti, te gandhadayah sarve eva sthulatvad vikaraha. All these Gandha, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all these things, they are all Vikara. Vikara means modification. Modification in that Maya. Modification in that, say that Maya only produces that, what is this, Tanmatras. Initially, in that Maya, these Tanmatras, the Panchabhuta Tanmatras are formed. Tanmatra means that which has not become a substance, only pure, say, elemental form or rudimentary form, that tanmatra, that alone is there. And when they mix with the other tanmatras, then it becomes manifest, or it becomes matter, to use a modern word. Initially, it is not a matter, it is pure energy. And that energy, say, we can't even say particles, that 5 energies are there, that is Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These 5 energies are tanmatras, as they call it. Tanmatra means that alone. Without, after they become that, after the process of Panchikarana I explained in the earlier class, after the process of Panchikarana, they become manifest. Till that time, they don't become manifest. Once they become manifest, it is called Sthula Bhuta. Sthula means that which can be seen, what can be cognized. Till that time, it is Sukshma Bhuta, it is Tanmatra only, it cannot be cognized. So, this Sthula, Sukshma Bhuta, etc., we have seen in the earlier classes. So, here, these Gandhadaya Sarveyava Sthulatvad Vikaraha. These things, these are all because of this Panchikaranam. And after this Panchikaranam, that originally that energy which was in an unseen form, Tanmatra means that is an unseen form, they become manifest. They become, matter as we see now, and then they become Sthola. They are all Vikaraha Shabdantaha. When they do these things, Yatra Nasanti, where they are totally absent, Kimu Vaktavyam, Kimu Tasya Sukshmatvadi Niratishayatvam Vaktavyam. What to talk about the subtleness? Sukshmatva, Sukshmatvadi Niratishayatvam. Niratishaya, what is Niratishaya? Niratishaya, Atishayam means exceeding something. Niratishaya means it is totally unsurpassable, which there is nothing which is superior to that. Niratishaya. We use this word for Niratishaya Anandam. Atishaya means there can be one Anandam or pleasure which can be greater than that. You eat one ice cream, that you get some Anandam. You go home and eat some homemade food and you may get some more Anandam. So that is that is then Satishaya. Satishaya means where there is comparison. Niratishaya is where there is no comparison. These two words you can note, Satishaya and Niratishaya. Satishaya is where there is a comparison, where there is a degree of comparison. Niratishaya means where there is no degree of comparison. That is, that comparison is totally over. There is nothing which surpasses it. So this Niratishayatvam means unsurpassability, let us say. So this unsurpassability of subtleness, Sukshmatvadi Niratishayatvam. Unsurpassability in what? Unsurpassability of subtleness. So the subtleness of Brahman, what to talk of, where all these things which are superimposed on that, they are totally absent. All these things, it is something which we are visualizing in that Brahman only, isn't it? So when all these things are negated, then what to talk of that subtleness? That is Niratishayatva. So that is what it says. So this line you have to read it twice or thrice, because this line is rather complicated. With the help of what I told just now, if you read again, you will understand this, the structure of the sentence. Te gandhadayah sarveyeva sthulatvad vikaraha. All these gandhas, etc., they are all sthula, grass, and that is why, and they are also vikaras, shabdantaha. All these things yatra nasanti, where they don't exist at all. Kimutasya sukshmatvadi niratishayatvam vaktavyam. What to talk about the unsurpassability of subtleness of such Brahman? What to talk of? The unsurpassability of such Brahman where there are no vikaras, where there are no modifications at all. Kimu vaktavyam ityetad darshayati shrutihi. So this shruti is going to say in the next mantra about that Brahman where all these gradations of sukshmatva have totally disappeared, where there is no sukshma, all these gradations. This gradation is totally absent because it is something which is ashabda, asparsha, rupam, all these things are all these defining characteristics. They are totally absent in that Brahman. So that is what he is going to say in the next mantra. We will see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.